30. Hi, how are you? This is me again. Here I am in all my glory. In all my glory hole. Stephen Orr, Sacred Horror, turning down Lo-Fi Girl with a little music for you this afternoon. This is a follow-up on, I wanted to actually follow up on the idea, what is the idea of radical acceptance and why I'm such a strong advocate of it. Okay, I'm such a strong advocate of it because I find that in my own life when I radically accept something, such as in this case, the quality of the clients that come to me, from huge heart chakra, giving sensuality, men, to the ghosts, the psychopathic fuck cunts that, like call to make an appointment. And I've been going through a lot of that shit lately. And I was really trying to deal with it, like, why are they ghosting me? It's just making my life so it's and then I started to think about mental health, and I was thinking, this affects me, it affects my income, it affects like yesterday, example. I was having a down day. It's a slow period. Last week was great, like 6 repeats, and this week has been shit again. Trump and the government is like not there, and then it's there again. These fucking Republicans. Mike Johnson. He's such with that insipid smirk on his face and those sad eyes. He reminds me of the Undertaker who embalmed my father. Because his the eyes were like kind of sad and watering all the time, and that whenever I see Mike Johnson, I just like to get a hand grenade and stick it up his ass after I pull the pin. I think that would just be. Anyway, I digress. But yesterday I was down. I went up on the roof. The weather's kind of the cold now. You really can't do your Pilates. It's fucking freezing up there on the roof. But it's still, nevertheless, it must be the Scot in me. It must be the outdoor Viking. That it's fine. And the roof is a way to get out of my man cave here, which, as you can see, it's like there's no direct light here at all. Dishwater light. It actually looks kind of pretty today with my Janis Joplin clock and my. Like I think the cupboard was built in like the 1800s, because you can see it's kind of like the entire building kind of goes like the old East Village. Anyway, I digress. I'm sitting there, and then I'm thinking, my life, income, and then ring the phone. I want to hire you to do a daddy massage. I just flew in from Amsterdam, and I'm like, whoa, yeah, that's great, and it's crazy how my mood just elevates, because I know I'm going to have a fun time, hopefully, or maybe a not so fun time, but, working, I'm going to be making money, I'm going to be meeting somebody new. And then this douchebag ended up ghosting me. Just nothing, right, after I gave him, which leads me, segues into the plumber who came to fix the stuffed up toilet yesterday, who's hot as fuck. I mean, Latin. I think I mentioned this yesterday. He's got a profile like, wow, like a movie star. He, without the alcoholism, and just so hot. And it was a nice experience. And you can't live without, a functioning toilet, right? So, anyway. What I wanted to talk about today, I wanted to mention that radical acceptance helps me with stress because I don't have to fight anymore. It's not that you've given up. It's that you have accepted where you are in your life or what you're doing. And in terms of my clients, it's in this economy, my age, and given everything that I do, there are wins and there are losses, and I like the wins and I don't like the ghosts. And it's funny, that's what the client was saying yesterday. He likes win-win, and then he ended up ghosting me completely, which is interesting. The refrigerator just went off, so the hum just went down. So anyway, I wanted to just say radically accept. and your stress level will go down. You know, that was number 2, and today, 13th, continuing check-in from Saint Or the Healing Whore. This is one of my favorite books. I'm reading it now for kind of spiritual guidance. I consider myself like a California Buddhist, which I really love Buddhism. It works much better for me than going to church and, you know, sitting there in this very stiff posture thinking that you're bad because you're a sodomite. Buddhism is kind of all-encompassing, and yes, I am a lust hedonist, so in that realm I'm not much of a Buddhist. I call myself a California Buddhist, but this guy was a big criminal in his time, and then he became a bodhisattva. So he became enlightened after killing people and maiming them, and like a serial killer. And his stuff, Father, conqueror of the devilish legions, I make obeisance to thee, Marpa the translator. Though I myself vaunt not my ancestry, I am the son of the roaring white lion. In my mother's womb, I perfected the 3 powers of the mind. Yeah, this is kind of esoteric. Let me get something that we can sort of relate to. Beautiful. Yeah, my sounds. This microphone picks up everything. It's just arbors and white peacocks. Okay, I found something. This is from The Sage. It's one of my favorite chapters. This is Songs of Milarepa. As happy as a layman delivered from a pit, so is the sage when he has renounced his inheritance. As happy as a good horse freed from his halter, so is the sage when he has transcended partiality. As happy as a beast dwelling unwounded, so is the sage who dwells alone. I love that one. As happy as the eagle flying high in the firmament, so is the sage who is settled, contemplating. As happy as the icy wind rushing through the air, so is the sage whose path is unhindered. As happy as the shepherd keeping blessed white sheep, so is the sage who keeps the clear void of mind. As happy as princely Mount Meru in the center of the universe, so is the sage who is immutable. As happy as the stone cast into the sea, so is the sage who will not return. Anyway, kind of esoteric stuff, but I like this for a little inspiration, as I find Kathy Griffin to be an incredible inspiration because of her resilience. And the woman is incredibly brave, too. I wish I was straight. I would fuck her. I would marry her. I would be such a good boyfriend. Anyway, I'm reading this, and I mentioned this the other day. This is Serpico. I watched the incredibly wonderful movie, and I first of all, I die for Italians. If you're Italian, you know, you could sell me the Brooklyn Bridge. And this guy is so good because there's a clear parallel in this. He is the cop who defied the system, who's called out corruption in the police department in the 70s, and basically got shot in the face for it because, and so much hatred. There was a lot of support too, but he was in the hospital, and he was, you know, his parents' loving family came, and there were a lot of good cop supporters, and then he would get these greeting cards, these get well soon cards that would say, you know, you scumbag, I hope you die, you're a rat fink, you should rot in hell forever. And it was because he was calling out the bad cops. And I liken this book because in my life now, in between the good clients, there are these ghosting clients that are very abusive. The sheer act of booking a massage and not showing up is completely abusive. And then I go back to the radical acceptance. And whatever walks through the door, I'm ready for it. providing you don't have a knife or a gun. I have nothing to steal anyway, so you're not, I'm here for this, and for, healing, the healing whole thing. And, so that's that. Serpico, reading that. And I think I've gone through this before. This is one of my favorite books. It's called The Lady Bird Book of Dating, and all the pictures are the illustrations are very like from the 50s, kind of milk and toast, and when people used to dress nicely. And okay, so here's a picture of the Odeon Coventry, little English Brit thing going on, Walt Disney's Pinocchio, and we have a picture of the theater there. And then this is the text. Rebecca is meeting Ian for their 5th date, but Ian has not come. Rebecca is sad. Ian sends a text message instead. He says he is under too much pressure from Rebecca, who is calling him every day. Rebecca thinks this is a lucky escape. Every day is 2 words. I don't really understand that one. Okay, here is a picture of a bunch of, I guess they are like white men, cattle breeders or something, dressed up in suits, and there's a lot of cows and cattle in the corral here. Okay, and here's the text. Frank divorced 3 years ago. Frank's friend Jeff says Frank should start dating again. Frank is out of practice. He does not like where Jeff goes to meet partners. This place is a cattle market, says Frank. Jeff says Frank is not seeing the potential. Jeff got off with an auctioneer here last week. I think this is so funny. One more. It shows this curmudgeonly couple at a nondescript restaurant. Isn't the art great? It's kind of watercolor, and he's hunched over with the glasses. 60 something. He looks like my age, but like what men really look like at 71. They look like this, like zombies, kind of, with straight men. If they're from Arizona, they usually have huge stomachs sticking out like they're pregnant. Marcus and Fiona have had 3 dates. Fiona knows this means she will either end up spending the rest of her life with Marcus or eventually have to break up with him horribly. Both of these ideas are terrifying to Fiona. Tomorrow, Fiona will fake her own death and join Cirque du Soleil. You have to get this book is just outrageously funny, and that touches on something that I was touching on the other day is the fear of change, and also intense hunger for it. So if I move upstate, all my socialization with the sexing clients and the clients period will disappear, because if you put your shingle out in a small town upstate, word is going to get around soon. And with this mouth, they would burn me at the stake, tar and feather me, and probably call the undercover squad from Albany to come and make an arrest in Socrates. I don't feel like spending time in prison, so we're reevaluating my escape. And then on the other side, I think I would never have to deal with ghosting clients anymore. I would have so much from cashing in and I would be completely free to travel, free to do more reflection, free to write. And I do wonder, where is my mental health in all this? Can trees supply mental health? I mean, I've been in New York so long, and I'm such an East Village character, outspoken, politically incorrect. I call them as I see them, and a lot of people don't like that. Gay people, straight people, they don't like that. And so I have the good clients, and then I have the ghosts. And I have my own ghosts. But anyway, speaking of the East Village, this is one of my favorite music books. It's called The Voluptuous Horror of Karen Black, which last night, in honor of Karen Black, I watched Burnt Offerings, Bette Davis's last film, and it's a slow burn, but it's really worth it. Spoiler alert, to see that bitch coming out, the dad, coming out, who actually Bette Davis called him a despicable human being. She couldn't stand the lead actor in that. And I think he was kind of hot, Anyway, he plummets out of discovering the monster. That's his wife has been basically overtaken by the spirit of the house, the mother, who's very evil. And he does a nosedive into his car, and his blue eyes are shining, and his son witnesses this and is screaming. There's blood all over. It's really, really good. I highly recommend it. Anyway, speaking of the East Village and Voluptuous Horror of Karen Black, this was from the band The Voluptuous Horror of Karen Black, not Diamante Galas, whom I personally can't stand. You know, screaming, "Where did our love go?" is not my idea of healing music or dancey, sexy music. It's just like minstrel trash. But this band is, and this book is incredibly good. Just really good food for thought. Or whenever I try to explain what the East Village used to be, this is the quintessential book for you to learn from. So youngsters, read it and weep. Get off your fucking phone, your social media. Check out Karen Black. And every costume has a picture, and it also has a drawing. Innocent Kembra Fowler. She's so beautiful. The sun. Oh my God, wave. Volcano. This is the razor blade outfit, okay? So you can see a really bad picture of the razor blade with Karen Black's face all blacked out, and this is a drawing of the razor blade. And then there's a text to accompany every picture, and usually every picture, every fashion item here has a song that goes with the band. Created by designer Kembra Fowler as a repellent cloak. One day, after a violent encounter with a gang of dripping young boys, wherein the lady concerned was strolling down the street and the young boys concerned were driving by, they all stuck their hands out of the car window grabbing her shorts. Then she took her big keychain and slammed the windshield of the car as the car stopped for a red light. This tough and mean number is featured in Make It Look Easy. I can remember a few times when I've done that, slammed car windshields when they're being assholes, yeah. Very dangerous to do. The sun, chopsley, rabid, bowling balls. Well, this is the bowling ball outfit. So here's Kembra. See the bowling ball outfit. There you can, yeah, it's funny. And here's the drawing for the bowling ball design. And Kembra is being punished for every crime ever committed for killing the Lindbergh baby, assassinating Lincoln, and starting the Chicago fire. She feels uncomfortable and shamefully glamorous wearing bowling balls on her feet, a dark fashion accessory. A statement bold and gorgeously anti-natural. Yeah, their big phrase here, how they describe themselves as the anti-natural band, which I think is really cool. This is really funny. This is called the Little Black Throw-Up Dress. If you're tuning into my videos to hear about healing massage, you're not going to find it today because I'm in a very funny mood, and I just feel like revisiting some of the richness in my life and my history, which has nothing to do with massage, but everything to do with where I came from, the Midwest, and then I adopted myself to the East Village, which has now been taken over by entitled NYU eunuchs and their credit cards. And Daddy, NYU does not give any money back to the neighborhood whatsoever, unless you're talking about the updrift in restaurants on Friday nights that make lots of money with those student credit cards. Anyway, this is called the Little Black Throw-Up Dress. I have no compassion for NYU students at all, or NYU. Horrible. It's like a cancer. You can quote me on that. The Little Black Throw-Up Dress. Every girl needs a little black throw-up dress, don't they? Just throw it on and you're fabulously together. A must for every girl's closet. The Karen Black version is a subtler form. Simply throw up black stuff on you and rub it in the right places. And here's the designer's drawing for the Little Black Throw-Up Dress. So I wanted to do that, and I thought that was really groovy. I pulled this off the shelf. Oh God, there was a trans person in the band. Chloe, was that her name? Yeah. She ended up like actually she used to be a neighbor of mine, and I think she had a drug problem and she ended up throwing herself into onto the subway tracks, which was very tragic. And Chloe, the bride. Bridal gown. Yeah, here's a picture of Chloe. She was so cool. She's the first one that introduced me to the money when I started doing massage, and she would warn me, she would say, don't mix your money with your honey. And I did, and so here I am now, like 30 years later. Sad but true. A life in progress, the mess, me. This is the bride dress, the grand finale. So it's got a picture of Chloe with this little pig on a kind of a chain here. And this is the text for the bride dress. The finale from the anti-naturalist fashion show. The bride, depicted here towing a pig and sporting yellow fly strips on her southern belle hoop skirt. Glamorous, elegant, horrifying. So now when you twats go around saying, well, what's the East Village? You know, what was so funny about the East Village? That was funny about the East Village. Dark, subterranean, underground, where it used to be. Yeah, actually, this used to be a big center of anarchists, I believe. Yeah. So here's one of my favorite books too, and this is The Fredericks of Hollywood, 26 Years of Mail Order Seduction. You know, notice the nightgown. I don't know how good it would go over in the Eagle. I love this. Kissin' Cocktail Cottons. I love the names. Carefree Cotton. Imported from Hawaii. This is really cool. It's called Puff Pet. Would you like a Puff Pet dress? No. You're a modern girl living in New York in 2025, and your thong is up to here, and your vagina is hanging out, and yet you're on the lookout for boys that are abusing you because your vagina is hanging out so much. Fredericks of Hollywood, smart separate, work or play. Oh my God. And they all have these funny, really campy names. Best Blouse Buys, Just for Fun. Frederick's Original, it's okay. Sailor Girl, Angel Stripes. Jersey Jewel, Glitter Shirt, See-Through, Dated Up Taffeta. I love it. So that's one of my favorite books too. And this is a picture of me doing my short story as a zombie, Blue Sanctuary, which you can find on my Bandcamp page. I had a career once upon a time. I thought I was going to be this great voiceover artist, but instead it was a horror about a zombie story set in the East Village, Blue Sanctuary. And it's available for, I think, a nominal fee if you wanted to buy it. Anyway, last but not least on my list of books I wanted to share with you today is like a show and tell day. I have a lot of energy. I did not have beer last night. The edible is finally kicking in, and it's great. I'm feeling good. I'm doing creatine. The body's working it, you know, in spite of the ghosters. Thank you, repeat clients. So this book is, it has an example of all these are like all the artists and their style, right? This is Magritte. So you can see him with the apple in front of his face, and then he's got this howdy-dowdy suit. And then over here, you're supposed to draw yourself or paint yourself with the apple. So, yeah, it's kind of groovy. I might investigate this. Like, how would I look as a Picasso? You know. Yeah, that's possible. Frida Kahlo's in here. And some of them I haven't heard of. Maurice Melo de Limpeca. Oh, what a beautiful picture. This is so 20s, so Art Deco. Yeah. So then I would draw myself like in the car, right? As the woman with the hooded in the car. Like, yeah. This is great stuff. So that's basically all I wanted to say with you today. Come for a great massage. I'm doing my thing. Yeah. And now I can feel like somebody just is vacuuming or something. This mic's so sensitive. It's great. So anyway, come for a great massage soon. I hope to be working on you soon. This has been part 2 of the Radical Acceptance Speechorama Show and Tell, the Karen Black reveal, burnt offerings. Lots to talk about. Yeah. So, yeah. It's good. I dig it. Yeah. If you can't enjoy the game, don't play. That's my new philosophy. Radically accept everything, and everything's on the table right now. So, healing hands. But don't fuck with them, or they'll fuck you back. Yeah. So say. Anyway, yeah. So this has been good. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a beautiful day. Take care of yourself. This is Steve and Nora, NYCMasseur.com out. Bye-bye.